Hey YouTubers, Grimmy here, and this one has been about a year or so in the making, but finally we're taking a look at Takara version of the Transformers Generations Metroplex. And yes, this is the Takara version. I chose this over both Hasbro releases as my preferred Metroplex. So we're going to take a look at it. It's pretty much the same as the other two in sculpt. It has the two guns that the Comic-Con version had, but doesn't have all the chrome. And I'll get into what it does have and what it doesn't, and how it's different from the Hasbro versions as we go. But I think it's time we get started with the city mode, which, as you can see, is huge. I had to remake my entire stage just for this figure, and it's still turning out to be too small. It's unfortunate, but I did the best I could to get this in frame and get it in the whiteboard. But yeah, we got a really big city, a lot of features, a lot of nice touches. Now okay, so the major differences between Takara's version and the Hasbro version, which you might notice on the vehicle, like the city mode, is pretty much just the colors in the plastic. Takara went for more white plastics than the black plastics of the Hasbro Metroplex, particularly in these two areas here, where, you know, would be the legs or the city ramps. So those are mostly in black on the Hasbro version, but Takara went for more of a white to go with Metroplex, reduce paint needs, so they can focus more on paint apps on the rest of the figure. There's also the helipads are done in white, and even the ramp going into the into the little areas is also done in white plastic as opposed to black. So that's like a pretty major difference between the Hasbro and Takara versions right there. And that'll play out a little bit more into the other modes as well. But it's kind of noticeable in this one, especially if you have both, which I don't. I only have the Takara version myself. So anyway, the decals, and I'm going based on pictures from Sabertron.com, so I think the decals are actually a bit different between the Takara and Hasbro versions. Takara's decals look a little bit more shiny, and some of the colors and placements are a little different too. Although it's hard to say for absolutely certain. Now, yeah, these decals I got on here are the Takara versions right out of the box. And I didn't get the Repro Label set. I'm not going to knock the Repro Label set because it does look pretty good. I just haven't felt the need to get it. I might do so later on, I'm not sure. But for the most part, the Takara decals are pretty good. They've been staying on fairly sturdily. The only problems I've had, I'll get into a little later in a mode where those problem decals show. Now, as for city mode, it is an awesome little playset. I mean, you could put your Cyberverse characters all over this thing, and it would look pretty good. You know, this is also good for the Legends class series. So you can get those little mini weapons, pop them on, put them wherever you want. You got some places for your Legends class figures to sit. A couple turrets, and you know, it looks really nice. The vehicle modes are perfect for this city mode. those streets and ramps are designed very well in scale with them. So yeah, you do well to get some Legends class or Cyberverse figures for this guy if you get them, because they will make for an awesome add-on for the display. Now the guns for Metroplex also become city towers, and given that this is the Takara version, yeah, my mouse ain't always working. So you got 2 red guns for city towers, so you got a little bit more to work with in the city mode as well as the other modes. The way I currently have it arranged, you got about 5 towers. One of which is being combined with the built-in gun and the gun you can put on to make like a radio tower. But yeah, you got options as to where you can put the weapons. The red guns have pretty set places, but the black guns you can play around with a bit, depending on your own aesthetic. And you know, a lot of people like to have the wrist-mounted turret from Metroplex showing in this mode. I normally don't, which is why you probably don't see it directly, although I'll probably have a shot of it showing here. So you got that option. Again, another spot for minicons to interact with this, which is always welcome. Not minicons, mini-bots. But yeah, it's a sweet little thing. And best of all, it includes its own little Legends figure to interact with the features, which I think it's about time we got into him anyway. Okay, so included with Metroplex is a Legends figure, and appropriately enough, it's Scamper. One of the figures, like the small Transformers that was included with the G1 Metroplex. Sadly, we don't get 6-gun or Slammer, but you know, you got third-party options for them, and who knows, maybe later down the line, Hasbro will release a Legends class Slammer, so to go with this. You know, hey, that tank Megatron that would make a nice Slammer. But anyway, on to Scamper here. Got a nice little 6-wheeled armored car thing. Not your typical driving vehicle. This thing looks like it was made for a fight. Kind of Mad Max style. Maybe not Mad Max, but something futuristic here. You know, front of the car looks like a normal car, but then you got these 2 things here on the side that are definitely not a normal car. And all the guns, yeah. This thing is ready for some major battles. Got a nice tampoed Autobot symbol, which is another difference. Like the Hasbro version has to use stickers for that. Takara tampoed the Autobot symbol on Scamper and one on Metroplex himself, which I'll show later on. But yeah, and Scamper is easy to transform to. Just a few quick steps and you got yourself a little robot. Just like that. And he's not bad. You know, he's got a nice sculpt to him. You know, really good articulation. Your basic, at least, ball jointed shoulders, elbows, hips, knees, no waist. It does have a head rotation, but it's really hard to get in there to actually use it. And of course he has his own little gun that mounts onto his back. So you can get into the play value of Metroplex very easily with Scamper here. And for quick size comparison, let's bring out Bumblebee. You know, appropriate enough. And you can see he is the size of a Legends. Um, we'll get him back into vehicle mode real quick. Again, very easy to transform him if you know what you're doing. And in this case, it'd be very hard not to, because everything is just real quick and simple. But for vehicle mode size comparison, here's Wind Charger, who happens to be in vehicle mode right now. Yeah, he's a little smaller than your Legends class vehicles, although this is actually pretty large for Legends car, so it might be even better scale with others. Yeah, I mean, Scamper's a real nice add-on to this set. And, you know, these goes pretty well with Metroplex here. So, yeah, and, you know, size-wise, it's a perfect fit. But anyway, this is, I think it's time we get a little comparisons in. Let's just bring in Chrome Dome for a deluxe comparison. You can see, we can get Scamper in robot mode, see how he looks in that sense. Yep, it's a record. I transformed this guy twice in one video. Actually, 3 times. So, yeah. As you can see, they are very tiny next to Metroplex. Let's see, we got Superion here. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Superion looks small next to Metroplex in city mode. You can imagine how big this guy's gonna stand. So yeah, I mean, Superion's about a liter size. Even bigger than a liter really, but yeah, this is huge. But yeah, I got one more comparison to do. I'm gonna have to jump cut to do it, so yeah, and as you can see, Metroplex is actually pretty even on terms with Fort Max in city mode. Although I do like the more compact and organized look of Fort Max here. These guys look pretty good together, and this is probably how fans have always wanted to display these two guys together instead of that smaller city that the G1 Metroplex became. So it's nice to have them both as these huge, massive cities that look so cool together. I mean, Fort Max really could fit in with Generations as is. Maybe update the Cerebro's figure a bit, but other than that, yeah, he'd work. Metroplex looks great next to him, and I love having both of these cities together. Although it is very hard to find a place to display them both together, so yeah, these things are huge. These things are huge. But yeah, it is awesome to have them both. And I love the way that they look together. You can see there's a severe difference in aesthetic here, but it doesn't matter because they look great. So I think it's about time we got Metroplex here in his next form. Okay, and now we got Metroplex in his carrier mode. And before any of you gripe and groan about this being the tacked on mode, it's an official mode, so I'm gonna do it. And honestly, they put a little more thought into it than you normally would on a midway mode. I mean, this probably was a battle station first, and the city mode was a afterthought in this case, because this battle station mode's done pretty nicely. probably going to notice that the runway is done in white plastic as opposed to the Hasbro black plastic. Again, this is the Takara version, so it's something to be expected. You may also notice I put a few Legends figures on here just to help accentuate it. And it's actually pretty cool. I mean, you got a little helipad here, and you know, you got plenty of places to put your Cyberverse or Legends figures. Like, you got a couple turrets right here. If you wanted to, you could flip out the one on the wrist as well. But I'm going to just keep it like this. This is kind of my preferred configuration for this mode, where you got the all 6 guns ready to shoot, plus these turrets. And there are plenty of options here for how to arrange this. These guns just can clip onto specific points right about here. Let's see if I can zoom in just a little bit. And we'll move this over slightly. And as you can see, there are some notches right here that you can just plug these red guns into to keep them in place, which is nice. I think it works. Oops, wrong way. Alternatively, you can actually have them be spaceships, and the way they're designed, tell me that doesn't look like a bridge. Seriously, that is a spaceship bridge. You got little turret arrangements here. Yeah, this looks like a big battleship. So, you know, you got options for that. And if you don't want them on the runway, or you got the Hasbro version, which only has 1 gun, you can just pop it in right here, and you have another mounted cannon. So that's another option for you. With that out of the way, you can actually flip down this missile battery, which I'm going to zoom into a little bit. And that looks pretty sweet. So you can actually have enough weapons to blow an entire country right on this battle station. I mean, as you can see, I got the smaller guns set up on the back of the wrists to be long-range cannons, while these ones are guns as well. And Prime just fell to his death. Oh boy. Oh, he's okay. Yeah, he's alright. No worries. Now, another nice feature is that there is a repair claw, provided I can pull it out, which is nicely articulated. Can bring like Power Glide in for repairs, or Cosmos, and you know, bring him in, have the claw working with him, trying to fix him up. It's pretty cool. Get this rocket out of the way. Another feature that comes in from the city mode, this one's always a little tricky to work with, and it knocked Prime out again, is the pull-out ramp. which I'll get gears here, demonstrate a little better. You just pull out the ramp, and yeah, probably isn't meant to actually fall off, but you know, he can just slide down and drive along. And the ramp actually works better in battle station mode than it does in city mode. City mode, it's kind of like, well, it gets to a point where this is just a sudden drop. So I think it works better in the battle station mode, which isn't bad. It's not a horrible thing. I'm sure a lot of people would prefer it worked better in the city mode, but I can live with it. But yeah, that's a pretty nice feature in itself. It's difficult to get that thing to click in and out, though. Speaking of the door, though, you can see a nice tampoed Autobot symbol. I'm not sure if the Hasbro version just uses the sticker or not, but I do appreciate the tampograph on this one. If I'm not mistaken, the tampo, if there's a tampo on it, it's just a red Autobot symbol, no outline. The silver outline really does help for Takara's. So, yeah, let's get Prime up. I put him in a rather precarious place. Although I gotta admit, that does look like a nice little command center area. Even has a little decal to show the, like a screen or some sort. So that works out pretty well. That said, you can already see how it works with the Legends class figures. Let's get a Voyager in. Guess we'll get Shiny Pants Prime. See, he's a little bit too big for this set. So, yeah. So yeah, he's a bit big. But it's not bad. The camera seems to want to move on its own. Which is a bit of a pain. But yeah, it's, you know, it works better with the Legends figures in the carrier mode. So, I think we're going to get in one more comparison. Okay, and here's Metroplex and Fortress Maximus together in their vehicle modes. Okay, I will give Metroplex a little bit of credit. It is more believable than what Fort Max's is. I mean, for some reason, Metroplex feels less like an tacked-on vehicle mode than what Fort Max's is. And, well, let's face it, Fort Max really does feel tacked on. It's just a robot mode pretty much just laying down on its back with a command tower put on top of it. While Metroplex does have a nice aircraft carrier feel, or a carrier base feel. They even put some well-defined wheels on the bottom of it. I mean, yeah, it's pretty much Metroplex sitting down, but I don't know, it seems more believable since there's more you can do with it. So, yeah, I guess it's a little bit of an improvement over Fort Max. still, it's not exactly the ideal mode for this guy. I do like it. I think it might work a little bit better than the city mode. That might just be me. But I think it's about time we got him into robot mode and see what he really looks like. Okay, now we got Metroplex in his robot mode, and first thing that comes to mind is huge. Yeah, this guy is a gigantic figure. Standing about 2 feet tall, and being touted as the tallest Transformer ever made. Which we'll get into a little bit more later on, but he is gigantic. For a quick size comparison right off the bat, let's bring in Classics Prime. Yeah. Very tiny. Oops. Dropped his guns. Okay, but yeah, for a more recent size comparison, we'll bring in Leader Class Jetfire. Yeah, Jetfire doesn't even get up to all the way up to Metroplex's knee. That is huge. Okay, yeah, this guy is gigantic, so it's amazing how big he is. But being that this is the Takara version, he does have, oops, I can get the camera to go up high enough, that chromed face, which is really nice looking. Let's get that centered in. Okay, there we go. Ah, there we go. And that is a nice face. The sculpt is good, and the face is generally pretty nice. When you use the sound effects, which it does have, the eyes do light up. And there are actually little eyeballs in here that move left and right, but you can only see them when the eyes are lighting up. So let me see if we can do something to simulate that. So I got the
Decepticon deactivation commencing.
yeah. Oh, and his visor flipped down. Yeah, but as you can see, he talks, he makes sounds, his eyes light up and move left to right. He has this flip down visor that looks really sweet on him. Most times I like having him displayed with the visor down. It's my personal preference. And, you know, it's not just his eyes that light up.
Target synchronizing initiated.
Yeah, there's a light in his chest that goes up too. And when you press this little button, it cycles between sound effects and his voice.
Target obliterated.
And he has a fair amount of sound effects and voice clips. I'm not going to go cycling through all of them. That'll take a little bit too long. Now, get this zoomed out. Get him back fully in view. As you can see, again, this is the Takara version, so he has 2 guns. And they're nice red plastic. We've looked at these a couple times throughout the review. But one thing that I haven't really shown off is that they actually do fire missiles. So you just flip this little switch at the top and they shoot. And they actually got a nice bit of power to them. It comes with 3 missiles. So you have an extra one which you can store in the chest plate. So there are options to store it. There we go. And sometimes this chest plate's not easy to get aligned properly. But in robot mode, he still has access to the missile barrage, the side turret. So you got some added weapons. If you don't want to use the red guns, these black guns can actually be held in the hand as well. Just pop it in. And there you go. So you got options for firearms as well. And if you got that, you can load this gun like a gun into the shoulder for a shoulder mounted cannon. Which is pretty common for the Hasbro version, you know, one gun, like the Hasbro retail version. One gun, so put it on the shoulder. And if you have a set with two guns, yeah, I could see one. Like me, I put the two guns in his hand, or I'll actually have one gun while he's holding Windblade. You know, since she goes with him pretty well nowadays. Speaking of, well, it takes a little effort. It is possible to get Windblade to sit somewhat comfortably on Metroplex's hand. It's hard to get her to cross her legs. It's just more of Windblade sculpt than anything else. But yeah, you can actually display Windblade and Metroplex together if you'd like. Which honestly is a good place to put Windblade. So, let's get this out. So, onto articulation. Because Metroplex is actually quite mobile. He's got a left and right turn at the head. No up and down movement though. He's got nice ratcheted shoulders. Some in and out. He's got a bicep swivel. Nice ratcheted, like everything's ratcheted on this guy. Really strong ratchets too. You know, elbow bend, bicep swivel. It's got swivels at the wrists, in and out. You can move his thumbs. Each finger has a joint of its own. So, yeah, he's got a lot of movement just into his hands. Let me get a little closer. Let's display this right. So yeah, you got, yeah. Now the fingers can stick together when you're moving them, so you might end up accidentally moving one more than you expected. But other than that, yeah, he's got a lot of articulation up in the top. This is where it's going to get more complicated for me. He does have a waist swivel, which he actively uses in the transformation. His hips move forward and back, and in and out. About 3-4 clicks. And yeah, that's a heavy ratchet. It's kind of tricky to move them, I'll admit. He does have a thigh swivel and a bend at the knee. no ankle movement, but he's got big feet, so I'm not too worried about his stability. But yeah, this guy is a lot more posable than one would think he was. So that's a really strong plus. And now for the biggest size comparison I could do. Let's see if I can get this up a little higher. It's kind of hard because I kind of have to put this on a table, which does not really have enough room to put up the fully extended tripod. So I'm going to do my best to make this work. Yeah, as high up as I can get it. But yeah, you got in the back you got Fortress Maximus and Voltron. I have to bring this up a little higher to get them at eye level. But yeah, honestly, those two stand about this, like close to the same height as Metroplex. Metroplex is a little bit taller than Fort Max, and probably about the same, about eye level with Voltron. Maybe a hair shorter. It's hard to say. But Voltron's not a transformer per se, so I guess tallest transformer really does count. Fortress Maximus is a bit beefier though. Yeah, Metroplex is more lanky. But yeah, and below we got some deluxes, Windblade, a Voyager, and Optimus Prime, Legends Bumblebee, Leader Jetfire. You got the Combiner Wars Superion there, who is barely above Metroplex's knee. You also got False Cybertron Bruticus, close to the same height. And then you got Supreme Class Omega Supreme, and he barely makes it up to the height of Metroplex's leg. So yeah, this is a huge toy. So yeah, I mean, words really can't describe how big this guy is. It's just, he's the biggest. And if that Titan class Devastator that's due out summer or so is about Metroplex's height, yeah, he's gonna tower over the other combiners. Now that's obvious fact. Okay, and there is one little detail I almost forgot. And that is the stickers on Metroplex's knees. In these little divot areas, you got 4 little stickers. And the cuts are not quite right to fit in there properly, meaning they don't adhere and they can come out very easily. Those are the only weak stickers that this guy has, though. The rest have gone on solid and not had one threat of coming off. So, okay, it's not perfect, so I can accept that. But one flaw is not enough to get upset about. And all in all, I do like the look of Metroplex with the stickers. I think they do add the right tone to them. And I'm glad that Takara's actually has a lot of good paint apps on it to boot. And I love the way they painted the missiles. The shoulders have good definition to them, like all that grading. And you got silver thighs, a little bit of black detailing in the hips. And there's plenty of details that are actually paint apps instead of stickers that work well. I mean, the stickers add so much to it, but he has a lot going for him even without the stickers. You may also notice that the cockpit area does not have images of Optimus and the other Transformers in it. That's unfortunate, but at the same time, I'm not going to whine about it. I do highly recommend a Metroplex if you haven't gotten them already. Maybe worth picking up the Takara version. I think it's on clearance at Big Bad Toy Store, or at least on sale for about $160. It could be more. It's hard to keep up with this, with that. So watch carefully. But if you can get it at a good price, I strongly recommend getting Metroplex. He's going to be worthwhile to have, and it's not often we get big figures like this, so I think we should support it. Anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed this little review, and I'll see you next time. Please, if you enjoyed yourself, smash that like button. Hit the subscribe button. Check me out on twitter.com/Grimmy'sReviews or facebook.com/Grimmy'sReviews. And, I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.